travel full time and film and eat the best local food in the world, but today we're at home and we want to recreate some of that food.
Today we're making masala chai, so spiced tea. We've filmed at a number of stalls both in India and Nepal, and the spectacle of these chaiwalas and them making the spiced tea is absolutely incredible, and we are wanting to recreate that street food experience right here in our home kitchen.
I'm Thomas.
And I'm Sheena, and we're chasing a plate.
Let's get into it.
Whenever Thomas and I are filming in India, we make sure that we stop several times a day to have a cup of masala chai, so the spiced tea. Whoa, Dhunwad! Perfect. It is such an important part of the food culture there, especially in the north of India. It's something that you drink all day long, and there's just something so special about standing huddled up next to people at a chai stall and sipping on a cup of chai. Now, these videos are all about recreating these street food experiences, but with what we've got in the pantry. So let me just talk you through what we've got in front of us. So we've got water, we've got milk, we've got tea obviously, so just some loose leaf black tea. We've got sugar, always have sugar because they always create a very sweet tea in India, a very sweet milky tea. And of course the masala, so spices. So when we were filming in, I think it was Delhi recently, we saw them actually crushing up the spices by hand, and they were using ginger. There's almost always ginger in the masala chai in India. Cardamom, so we've got some cardamom pods here, and then I really love cinnamon, so I thought I'd add a couple of cinnamon quills as well. But really it's just whatever you've got in the pantry and whatever flavours you like. So we'll pound those up with this rolling pin in a second, and then we've also set up outside, and we've got a little gas cooker to use to brew the tea. They almost always use a gas flame in India. Sometimes it's charcoal, but it's mostly gas. And we're outside because I think we're going to make a real mess of this, because we're going to try pulling the tea, so stretching the tea and creating a really foamy, frothy brew. Alright, so what we're going to start off with is just heat some water and milk on the gas stove. We're not following a recipe as such, we're just sort of freestyling this. So we've got water. There's always a ton of water used in the tea. And then we'll add some milk to that. Whoop. Just however much you like really. Like if you prefer a milky tea, I reckon you add more milk, and if not, then add less. But we like a bit of milk, keep it creamy. I think we'll add a dollop more. And then we're just gonna stick that burner on. Stick that burner on. And then get that boiling. Is that on? I think it's all go. It's time to crush up these spices. So we've got cinnamon quills, we've got ginger, and we've got cardamom. So again, it's all about using what you've got at home and using the spices that you like to use. So definitely ginger, because there's always ginger in the masala chai in India. But you can also add things like peppercorns and cloves, star anise, nutmeg, all sorts. All right, let's just get a big hunk like that. Add some of these cardamom. Cardamom is quite a strong flavour, so I'm just going to start with 2. And then we didn't have a mortar and pestle, so we found this rolling pin. That's what we're going to use. Okay, this pot's moving all over the place, so let's just pop it up on this tea towel and get into it a bit more like this. So this is what the guy was doing when we were filming at that stall in Delhi. So he was just hand pounding the ginger and also the cardamom. So the ginger still had the skin on, so I've left the skin on this stuff here too. All right, so let's add another little knob of ginger, maybe one more cardamom pod, and then also the cinnamon quill. And you don't need to like pound it up or break it up too much. You just need to bruise it, I reckon. Get the flavors coming out of them. All right, I reckon that's pretty good. Let's have a smell of it. Whoa! Oh, the cinnamon and also the ginger. Super fragrant. Now, look at the milk over here. So this is the milk and water, and in India that's how we've seen it happen. So they boil up the milk and the water together, and then they add the spices into it. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Okay, turning down the heat. So the water and milk has just totally bubbled up. But that's what you see when you're on the streets of India. You see this huge frothy mess coming up. I'm so glad we're outside. Okay, so what I'm going to do is add the spices. So that's the ginger and then the cardamom and the cinnamon. So pop that into the milk and water mixture and just let it sort of bubble away and flavour it. All right, I'm going to turn the heat up a bit more on that now.
This outdoor cooking means we've got an issue with wind problems. So the wind keeps pushing the flame down, so it's not getting the bubble going on this mixture. So as we said, we are working with what we've got. So I've gone with a bodyboard, a stool, to try and make a little wind barrier here to get this bubbling away. Yeah, already that's working. So the milk's really starting to bubble again. And the spices in this milk, the smell is unreal, and it is taking me back to being on the streets of India. And when you walk up to these tea stalls, you can smell that smell in the air.
Wow, oh, and you can smell the spices from here. Nothing like a spot of tea.
And that is the smell I'm getting from this. Oh, okay, now we have got a really good bubble happening on there. So I think it's time for tea and sugar. So again, just gonna guess it. Let's just pop some tea in. Now this probably isn't the right type of tea, but again, this is what we had in the cupboard. So just some black loose leaf tea, and we've got some sugar. Now they use a lot of sugar in India, so I'm going to be pretty liberal with that. In fact, let's put the whole lot in there. And now we want to get that really bubbling, so let that black tea infuse through the milk. Want to get it really bubbling, so I've got to shelter it from this wind in all directions. Look at the way it's changing colour. So now that tea has gone in there, we're getting that brown sort of tea-like stain coming through the milk. And so I've kept all the spices in there for now. We are going to be straining off the spices. So obviously this would not make for good drinking right now. It'd be gritty as. I've got to say, we've seen some great chai setups around the world, but I've never seen one involving a bodyboard, a planter, a stool like this to hold up your windbreak. This is quite a unique tea stall, but there's tea stalls around the world are fantastic. So it's neat making our own little proper one outside here. And this is really starting to brew up good now. So it is, the smell is what is just insane. Super strong with the spices that Sheena put in there. And now that tea is really starting to darken up this liquid. Okay, this color is coming on really well now. It's getting nice and dark. In India, you see it bubbling right up, right out of the pot, and they turn it down and they let it bubble again. We can't get it to do that just with the temperature we've got and this windbreak. It's not quite working, but we've had a pretty good bubble going on, so I think it's now time for the fun stuff. So I'm gonna get that out of the way, move that, and I wanna pull this tea and get some real action going on here to get it all frothed up and get all of those the spices and flavor all through the liquid. So I want to start, I've just got this little pot that I can get in there. I need to get rid of a bunch of these spices. So you've got all that tea and all that, the cinnamon and the ginger and the cardamom that's gone in there, which we don't want to be drinking. So I need to get rid of as much of that as I can. Oh, look how much has come out of there. So the tea is all puffed up, so there's tea leaves, make it look like a lot has been put in there, but that's all the tea leaves and all that cinnamon. I'm getting as much of that out of there as I can. And now I want to start stretching this tea. So, oh man, this is terrifying. This is super terrifying. So when you're on the streets, you see it being stretched from great heights. So let's see how I do. I'm just gonna fill up, we've got 2 little pots here. Whoa, I want to get those bubbles going. Okay. Oh my God, I'm so glad we're outside. Oh, this is so difficult to do in a tidy manner. I've got to say, I'm pretty happy with the aeration I'm able to get here. What I got to say also is that I'm really happy we're outside because I've made such a mess doing this, but oh, it's so good getting this aeration in there. Oh my God, getting it all frothed up. I think I gotta pour some tea out before I completely spill it everywhere. Look at that, so much foam on board. We'll put it through the strainer again. Oh yes. Oh, and I must say, I'm sort of on purpose making, okay, that was a bit more mess than I was trying to make. But when you see this being made in India, it's not the tidiest job. It spills over the cups. They've got bulk production going on. So I wanted to make it as authentic as I could. And look at that, our little cups of masala chai. Now, this is definitely not as dark as you see it on the streets in India. And also on the streets, definitely in Kolkata, you get this in a beautiful clay pot, which they make out of clay from the River Ganges. And they say it gives it a very unique, special taste. Obviously, we do not have clay from the River Ganges just hanging out in the kitchen. So we're just using little glasses.
Cheers.
That's how it is. Whoa!
It's really gingery, like super gingery.
Spicy. Oh,
it's delicious. It's nowhere near as strong as the chai that you find in India. So I reckon we could have added heaps more tea leaves.
yeah, but I think also our heat issue was a problem there. We couldn't get quite enough heat to really get the flavor out of the tea, and probably the tea we used as well might have been a much lighter flavor, but
It's not bad.
not as strong as India. Very strong in ginger. The cardamom is a very strong flavor too. Maybe not quite as creamy.
Yeah, I
As I'd
reckon more milk. More milk.
Yeah.
Because it did froth over quite a
Yeah.
bit.
Wow.
That was fun.
That was a cool experience to do at home, and I think doing it outside, pulling it like that, making it pretty authentic in the style of how we were able to make it, that is a super fun street food recipe to take to the home kitchen or the driveway kitchen.
Backyard kitchen. Cheers. There's going to be heaps more of these street food recreations. So stay tuned.
Cheers.